Yes, people are worried about wars, the American economy, human rights. But what about the environment? The past century was a blast, right? Chopping down trees, burning fossil fuels. We had it all. Until one day we realized we don't. The past few decades have seen an increase in environmental concern. Greenhouse gases, global warming, dying species, pollution, and of course, energy.
Our educated society has finally come to its senses and realized that if we keep burning fossil fuels at the same rate as in past decades, we are going to run out.
There have been multiple propositions for different types of energy sources. Two of the competing propositions are biomass and nuclear power. Supporters such as Sohn, supporters of nuclear energy, believe that nuclear energy is the way to go. Just read their slogan. To promote an informed debate about nuclear's place in global energy supply and how it can help power the world's economic development in a sustainable way. And indeed, there are positive sides to the argument for nuclear power. Nuclear energy is inexpensive. It is created by smashing atoms together in a process called nuclear fission. There is no smoke, only steam. There is no carbon pollution. There is no greenhouse gas effect. Sounds great, yeah? No. While nuclear energy is inexpensive, it uses uranium for its fuel source. Much of this uranium comes from overseas. Not only are there mining and transportation costs involved, but we are also shipping jobs overseas. I believe everyone can agree that the American economy is on the issues we should start paying attention to list. So if we can create energy and create jobs in our own borders, why not do it? Then there's also the environmental issue. Although nuclear energy is one of the safest forms of energy, the environmental effects are far from none. While studies have shown that living near a power plant doesn't correlate to a higher risk of cancer, there is no debate that exposure to radiation can kill. Two examples of devastating accidents are 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. The cleanup from 3 Mile Island cost approximately $1 billion. And in the Chernobyl accident, 237 people suffered from acute radiation sickness, ARS, of whom 31 died within the first 3 months. There is also the issue of cleanup. Yes, production might be clean, but what happens to the remaining nuclear waste? It just sits here. And it stays radioactive for thousands of years. While technology has found ways to contain this waste, it is an expensive and dangerous process that requires skilled workers and land space. So what other options do we have? It's simple. Biomass. Biomass involves burning brush and trees and converting it into different types of energy sources. The first huge reason to say yes to biomass is that it's renewable. Decades of forest management have taught us how to grow successful forests without damaging the environment. With this knowledge, it is plausible to power entire cities with this energy strategy. Let's knock out the negative side effects first. Biomass is still an infant in the energy world, and people are hesitant to switch over because initial costs are high. Furthermore, large amounts of land will be needed if we intend to use this energy on a large scale. Also, a lot argue that cutting down trees, which store carbon, will increase carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. While these are valid points, they can be argued. Yes, initial costs will be higher, but over the years, biomass becomes cheaper, more easily accessed, and oh yeah, it's renewable. In response to the land issue, yes, we would need to allocate more land to tree farming, but this provides an incentive to local farmers to continue growing more pines and trees that can be used in biomass production. And in response to increased carbon emissions, I believe the incentives to farmers will help maintain our forests, not destroy them. In the end, most of a country's and an individual's decisions come down to profit. What is the cheapest and fastest way to make money? If farmers were offered a contract, they would know they had an income, and they would also be encouraged to reuse their land and farm in yearly cycles. If you follow the idea of crop rotation and move around from plot to plot, the number of trees should stay the same, so there should not be an increase in CO2 emissions. Furthermore, wood pellets can be used in coal-fired furnaces, a popular trend right now in Europe, and it gives off much fewer pollutants than coal when burned. Most importantly, it helps local communities stay alive. Gainesville has taken up this option and will open its own biomass plant that is currently in construction and will be operational in 2013. Too many times people have seen large companies selling and building for cheap, and it takes away incentives for our local farmers to compete. With biomass, we need wood, which means we need trees, which means we need farmers. Land can be allocated, and farmers can be sure the money and time they spent managing their forests will be rewarded with business. Furthermore, this promotes land conservation. Local people in their local community can live comfortably and healthy, knowing their hard work is being appreciated not only by our citizens, but by our wildlife, our earth, and our future generations who will see an end to fossil fuels. This is an alternative that is safe, cheap, environmentally friendly, and possible. It is the alternative we need to choose in the present, so we don't make mistakes from the past and know that we will have a future.